Okay, World Cup day number 17, and I really want to get into the matches, especially that Portugal won. So here's your daily meme. It's just a Twitch streamer and a random fan being really weird. Yeah, cool. Now that that's done, let's get these other matches out of the way, because we gotta talk about Portugal, okay? So, Japan versus Croatia. I had predicted Japan to win this game against all odds, and I wasn't too wrong. They managed to hold off Croatia for pretty long, shutting down their game and surviving any possible scenario. You really gotta give them praise for their fighting spirit. The amount of goal line clearances and desperate last-minute tackles I've seen them pull off is incredible. Still, of course, in their classic fashion, after 42 minutes of something close to what I've just described, there's a scramble in Croatia's box and they go in front. And yeah, for about half an hour the world went crazy thinking that Japan was about to tumble another giant, but then Perisic scored with a header to tie the match. Just 2 minutes later, Endo tested Croatia's goalkeeper Livakovic, who pulled off an incredible save. And by the way, it has to be said, Endo and Livakovic, both with incredible performances, some of the very best on the pitch that day. Regardless, putting aside a great strike by Modric, forcing Gonda to an impossible save, not much else happened after that, leading a game into extra time for the first time at this World Cup. In fact, 7 out of Croatia's last 8 knockout stage matches at major tournaments have gone to extra time, which is really odd. Still, despite the extra time, those 30 minutes didn't do much for the match. Meaning that eventually it would have to go to a penalty shootout, where one team did really well and the other not so much. In my predictions video I said that the entire world would have their eyes on Japan, and that would either really work in their favor or really work against them. Well, let's just say that it was really obvious that the Japanese players felt the pressure in the shootout. Meaning they missed 3 out of the 4 penalties they got to take and just gave the win to Croatia. Though, to be fair, Livakovic saved all of those 3, which was wildly impressive, and in fact he's only the 3rd goalkeeper in World Cup history to manage to save 3 penalties at a shootout. Ricardo in 2006, Subasic in 2018, and now Livakovic. Regardless, on that note, let's move to Brazil versus South Korea. Actually, before even getting into that, let me just say, if you had any doubt about Brazil's squad depth, let me tell you they just became the first team in World Cup history to use every single one of their 26 players, including the 3 goalkeepers, which is one stunt that I really didn't expect to see anyone pulling off. But yeah, the match. So I had said that this was the easiest match to predict, and well, it seems I was right. 36 minutes in, and Brazil were already winning 4-0. The first goal was scored by Vinicius, but I gotta say, to all the people that question why Rafinha starts for Brazil, just look at what he pulled off for that first goal. He took on 3 players, combined with his teammates, and still went on to get the assist, so what more could you ask for? Right? The second one was a penalty by Neymar, a really unfortunate foul. I mean, personally, it didn't even seem to me that the South Korean player did that on purpose, but well, I guess it is what it is. Still, just one more goal for Neymar and he'll be on par with Pelé as Brazil's all-time top scorer, which obviously is really impressive, right? Between the second and the third goal, there was time for Hishan to force Alisson into an incredible save, which, by the way, Alisson has been incredible at this tournament. I feel like I keep saying this about goalkeepers, which, well, just proves how incredibly high the standard for goalkeeping has been throughout this World Cup. The goalkeepers really deserve a round of applause, you know what I mean? Regardless, the third goal was the prettiest of the bunch. Richarlison all over it this time. He literally balanced the ball on top of his head before darting into goal. As joga bonito as it gets. Richarlison has definitely been one of the names of the World Cup so far. And by the way, Thiago Silva got the assist, which means he's literally the oldest player in World Cup history to get one. Oh, and by the way, someone has to explain this celebration. What are they even doing? I don't get it. Yeah, by the fourth goal, it just seemed like Vinicius needed to show that he could also pull off something magic, so he lobbed the ball over the entire defense and Paquetá put it in. If they still haven't impressed you with all of this, let me tell you that they got 3 goals out of their first 5 shots in this match, while throughout the entire group stage they took 57 shots and still only managed those same 3 goals, so clearly there has been an improvement. And yeah, there was still an entire half to go through, but well, the game really slowed down, and by the 75-minute mark, there had been only like one more big chance for each team, and then Pike pulled off one of the goals of the tournament. I guess one last hurrah for South Korea, as after that goal the game just fizzled away. And yeah, it seems like we're going to get Brazil versus Croatia in the next round, which will definitely be fun. Okay, so the final game before Portugal's match, Morocco versus Spain. Well, I hate to be that guy, but I told you so. As I predicted in my last video, underdog Morocco pulled off the win again. If you want a short story for this match, I'll show you this. Spain attempted 1,019 passes and Morocco 305. But no matter what, they scored the same amount of goals, 0. Like I've been saying, Spain passes and passes and passes, but barely creates any threats. So what's the point? This is probably the millionth time that I'll quote Mourinho in these videos, but well, you can take the ball home, we'll take the 3 points. This graph should show you what I mean. Slow and intricate. Indeed. One thing that stood out to me was that despite their whole possession-based game, most of Spain's most exciting chances came out of set pieces, which is incredibly ironic. Who would have guessed that they were actually capable of creating something once they stopped passing sideways, huh? In extra time, the game was much more exciting, and it could have actually been over then if it wasn't for Shedira. The guy came in at the 82nd minute and still managed to pull off one of the worst performances I've seen at the World Cup. He was one-on-one with the goalkeeper 3 different times and managed to fumble all 3 chances. Unai Simon saved the first, and in the other 2, the guy hesitated so much that I kid you not, he ended up not even getting a shot off. I mean, I was literally yelling at the TV at that point. It was so frustrating to watch, and I'm not even Moroccan. By the way, speaking of frustration, let's talk about Sarabia. The guy was subbed in 2 minutes before the end of the match, and he still managed to hit the post with just 30 seconds left on the clock. And then he was given the task of taking the first penalty. I mean, he was literally subbed in for the shootout, and no joke, he hit the post again. Just unbelievable. And all of that was made even worse when Soler and Busquets both missed as well, putting Morocco in the quarterfinals after a Panenka by Hakimi. Well, what else can be said about Spain's performance? A lot, actually. With this shootout, Spain actually broke a bunch of records. I mean, not exactly good ones, but they did break them, so I guess I should mention them. They became the nation to lose the most penalty shootouts in the history of the World Cup. Also, only the 2nd team in history to fail to score a single penalty in a shootout. The only other time was Switzerland in 2006. And actually, I think I should probably also mention this. They went into extra time in every single one of their last 5 knockout stage matches. Kind of similarly to Croatia. It's kind of a strange phenomenon, isn't it? But also focusing on the other side, Morocco are only the 4th African nation to make it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup in history. So I guess I don't even need to say it, but there were some people who were very happy about this. Just look at all these guys.
Hey, my friend! Hey, good luck! You are good team, huh? Yes. Airport this way!
And finally, Portugal versus Switzerland. Okay, so just a quick thing that happened before the match. Look how many photographers were trying to get a picture of Ronaldo on the bench. Unbelievable. Okay, so right out of the gate, I guess I could say since the day that I was born, but just to add some dramatic effect since it also applies, since the day my father was born, Portugal scored just 3 World Cup knockout stage goals. That's it. 2 in 2006 and 1 in 2018. We scored 6 tonight. 6. As you might imagine, I'm over the moon. There have literally only been 2 occasions in which a team was beaten by 5 goals or more in the knockout stages of the World Cup since 1938. One we all know, and Germany versus Austria in 1954. And, well, now Portugal. But yeah, by the way, fun fact, the first 2 World Cup knockout stage matches ever both ended 6-1, just like Portugal today, and there were 4 wins by 5 goals or more in the knockout stages of the first 3 World Cups, including an 8-0 win by Sweden against Cuba. Yeah, the 1930s World Cups were pretty extraordinary. But yeah, Portugal's match. I wasn't too confident going into it. I mean, we Portuguese are very used to suffering till the very last minute, so I just have one thing to say about Gonçalo Ramos. O meu menino sabe. No way, man. A 21-year-old who's played like 3 full 90s for Benfica this season gets his first start ever for Portugal at a World Cup last 16 match, being picked over Cristiano Ronaldo, and scores 3 goals and gets 1 assist. He's literally the first person to register 4 goal involvements in a single World Cup match since Oleg Salenko in 1994, who, by the way, scored 5 and assisted 1, which is especially insane since he never played for Russia again, which certainly won't be the case with Gonçalo Ramos. Yeah, man, he's gonna be telling this story to his grandkids. In fact, they're probably gonna be begging him to stop retelling it over and over again. It's just the stuff of dreams, you know? I honestly think he should start over Ronaldo against Morocco. I would never expect to be saying this at the start of the tournament, but like, what are you gonna do? Bench Felix? The guy has been phenomenal as well. That assist for Gonçalo's first goal nearly made my eyes water. Just absolute genius. Actually, speaking about the first goal, I gotta go back to Gonçalo Ramos once again. What a strike. Beating a goalkeeper like Jan Sommer from such a tight angle is definitely something impressive. Actually, to be fair, all of his goals were really impressive. For the second one, he was incredibly cunning, showing up out of nowhere and literally putting it between Sommer's legs. And the third was just something special for his highlight reel, baiting Sommer with his first touch and then chipping it over him so effortlessly. Just wow. And even when he didn't have the chance to score it himself, he just put it to the side to Guerreiro so he could score instead. Not to mention that in between all of that, Sommer saved the 4th attempt that could have given him a 4th goal, which is just unbelievable. If it wasn't for that tiny detail, it would have been the perfect performance. And I mean, the kid was literally subbed off at the 70th minute, so what more could you have asked for? Regardless, I guess that save was pretty much Sommer's redemption. Poor guy. I was in the car before the match telling my girlfriend how upset I was that Sommer had recovered in time for the match, telling her how good he was and all of that, and he ends up conceding 6. Who could have possibly guessed this score? But yeah, giving a bit of attention to the other goals as well now, Pep's goal was incredible. You gotta love him, man. 39 years old, scoring a World Cup knockout stage goal, being one of the pillars of the team. What a guy. There was also Akanji's goal, which came out of nowhere, and Leão's to close out the match, which was just a cherry on top of the cake. An absolute screamer that literally left Sommer planted to the ground. Oh, and of course, Ronaldo scored 1 as well, but he was offside by like a mile. Yeah, but still cool to see that he's got his scoring boots on, because the strike was actually pretty impressive. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. We gotta face Morocco now. Obviously, of course, so far I prefer to face them instead of Spain, but obviously they've beaten so many good teams at this point that I'm starting to feel pretty nervous. Maybe facing such a toothless Spain would have been an easier task. But well, it is what it is. We gotta make the most of it, and I guess now it's just a matter of waiting for the next matches, so like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Come on, at least like 50% of you are not subscribed yet. I've seen the statistics, okay? So just click the button. It makes me happy. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.